I have been meaning to do a video about this. Don't blame me, blame Baby Bunny. But I'm so glad I'm getting to do it now because I wanted to do a little reaction video to Leah Remini, Mike Render, and Claire Headley. They had a live, talked about having a meeting with the chief of the LAPD regarding Scientology. Now, you guys know that Leah Remini, Mike Render for many, many years, and I believe Miss Claire, I don't know a whole lot about her other than just recently through the trial of Danny Masterson. We know that Leah has, dedicated the last 10 plus years or so, and Mike and everyone in this group to expose Scientology and what they've been doing and the abuses. And one of the questions I had asked everybody on my community wall, I said, do y'all think that LAPD and Scientology are in bed together? Like, what is going on, right? So I've always been curious. I heard about Shelly Miscavige through the Aftermath docuseries, right? And I till this day, I don't understand why is it so hard to like find this woman. Although I guess I get it now. She's being hidden by this church, or at least that's what we think. Do we know if she's still alive? I don't know. Why is it so difficult? Like I know people, if they want to remain missing, I guess they have that right to. We just went through over the summer Ruby Farias, right? The case of a young man who was missing for 8 years and suddenly turns out he was not missing, he was in hiding, and mama was milking the story for many, many years in order to get some type of financial gain. And yeah, we don't even know the outcome of that at this point. We know that nobody was arrested. That's what we know. That was the summer of 2023. If y'all have been following my channel, you would know. But anyways, let me get back to the program. So we know that people can remain gone if they want to, right? We know that. I'm going to link the video to the description box. You guys can check it out. But I was like just amazed by the fact that they went to go meet with the LAPD to try to continue to convey the abuses of power from this church and the resistance that they were met with. I saw Nate the lawyer also do a video. Shout out to him. I'll link his in the description box so y'all can watch it. But let me know your guys' thoughts, okay? And I'm only going to react a little to this.
That it became like priority number one to ally the Riverside County Sheriff's Office and the California Highway Patrol to get those people to come and shuffle off the people outside protesting. And they held barbecues and fundraisers and charity balls and wined and golf tournaments and wined and dined those guys till the cows came home. And that has had an effect. It creates in the minds of those police or law enforcement officers or agencies that, well, these are good guys. You know, we don't really have to worry about them. They're law abiding. We don't get lots of calls about crimes that are happening there. Yeah, of course you don't, because nobody ever reports any of them.
And it's interesting that Mike Rinder is talking about, the LAPD, kind of the maybe service human work that happens with the LAPD and Scientology. Scientology released an article. I believe it was an article that they wrote that basically said that LAPD and the Church of Scientology awarded by the Faith in Blue Initiative. So the Faith in Blue Initiative is a grassroots initiative that seeks to create safer and stronger and more just and unified communities through partnerships among law enforcement professionals and resident businesses and community groups through the connection of local faith-based organizations. Yeah, so they're getting recognized. Scientology and LAPD are being recognized for working together as a community. That's an interesting point that Mike makes, and then you see this article.
Right. This is the mindset of the police. Like, we're talking about the Hollywood division. You know, Scientology has cameras everywhere. And one of the other things they do is They are like the good citizens that provide
Yep.
camera footage of anything
Mhm.
that happens on the street
Oh,
and
yeah.
quickly report and
Yep.
jump in if there's something suspicious happening. And the
Mhm.
police look at that and go, well, this is like a neighborhood watch. These guys are really good.
Yeah. They even
And
told me
then
that when I was there. I did a tour of it, and they said, "Oh, I was looking at all their cameras." I go, "This is amazing." They go, "Yeah, but Scientology," like I wanted to hear, like they thought I was a Scientologist still, I guess. They said Scientology helps us a lot. Their cameras are more far reaching than ours. Like, they can see people coming off the 101 freeway.
Wow.
right.
Yeah.
And
Why that wouldn't concern anyone that Scientology has better technology than the police. Let me take a sip of my Coke right now because that would concern me. That would concern me.
but
And
but there's a
yeah.
very important point about this that I
Mhm.
want to make, which is that is part of safe pointing.
Mhm.
Because what happens is the police believe that if they go to Scientology
Yeah.
about a reported crime, they're
Mhm.
going to get the goods.
Mhm.
So if they go to Scientology about a guy who stabbed someone on the corner,
Mhm.
oh, they will provide them with everything that you could possibly imagine: the footage, the eyewitness reports, photos of the guy's shoes, like everything.
Mhm.
If they go and say, we heard there was a report that Danny Masterson raped someone here, they'll go, oh, never, no, nothing, nothing, nothing. And they go, and in their mind, they've already convinced themselves that Scientology always comes forth with good evidence. I mean,
Just like there's a bias, right? There's a built-in bias already. So how can we trust that the LAPD, the Hollywood division specifically, that they can review things and look at things independent of a celebrity, a church that they've done community service work with? We can't. You can't. There's no way. Pockets are everywhere. Everyone's hands is in everybody's pockets here.
I mean, they always give us everything that they possibly could
Mhm.
because they've helped us in so many of these cases,
Mhm.
which had nothing to do with Scientology. As long as it was not a Scientologist, they'll provide information, testimony, witnesses, that like the whole shebang.
So helpful. Yeah.
And they believe and they have this idea in their head that Scientologists are law-abiding citizens who
Mhm.
cooperate absolutely one beyond what we could expect of any citizen. And they always do that.
Hold for a second, Mike. Kathy Frazier and one other Sea Org member, I'm forgetting her name, but it was actually Mark, your husband,
Muriel
Muriel
Dufresne.
Dufresne.
who are donating all kinds of money to Riverside County councilmen and women, their campaigns. And, they're on all kinds of, $50, $100. And how much do Sea Org members make a week?
$46 a week if they're lucky.
And they have $200 to be donating to these campaigns, to the
Nope.
Riverside County Sheriff's Office captain's next campaign. Interesting.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, Mike. That is the viewpoint. They have been thoroughly and utterly safe pointed, because then other people have done the reporting on this. There was a kiosk, a Scientology kiosk in the lobby of the Wilcox division of LAPD.
Why is there a kiosk inside the LAPD division? So back in 2018, there was this article that was written, and let's look into it right now. Let me remove some of these banners. But it basically says, the article says that Kiosk Gate, LAPD told Masterson accusers its Hollywood site was compromised by Scientologies. And this was written back in August 30th of 2018 by Tony Ortega. You probably saw the story that hit yesterday reporting that the American Atheist had convinced the LAPD to remove a Scientologist kiosk from its Hollywood division station house, but the police department refused to turn over any information about what it was doing there in the first place. What the stories about the kiosk didn't mention was something we reported back in March of 2017 when we first broke the story. that Scientologist actor Danny Masterson was being investigated by the LAPD over allegations that he had violently raped multiple women. In the initial story, we reveal that one of the three women who had come forward, a fourth came forward later, wrote a scathing letter to the LAPD then Chief Charlie Beck, complaining about the shabby way the investigation was going. She made numerous complaints about how she and other accusers were treated, but she also specifically referred to being told by LAPD Detective Esther Reyes that they needed to take her case out of Hollywood Station House on Wilcox Avenue because it was conduit to the Church of Scientology. And then there's a little statement there that says, I was told that my report was being transferred out of the Wilcox location into downtown due to known leaks within the Hollywood division, where I received a call from Detective Reyes later that day. She warned me that I am not to speak to any other officer or anyone claiming to be an officer, a victim wrote to the LAPD chief. We also learned later from a report by the Huffington Post that another of the victims who had come forward to the LAPD initially in 2004 was told that the entire content of the file from the time had gone missing after Scientology overwhelmed that investigation with affidavits calling the accuser a liar. Now, the cozy relationship between LAPD and the Church of Scientology has been illustrated in absolutely stunning ways, which the church placing one of its kiosks, the kind that you normally have to go to a Scientology ideal org to see, placed right inside the Hollywood Community Police Station on Wilcox Avenue. No way. Girl, what? Well, that's an absolutely correct statement that LAPD and Scientology might be in bed together. Like, why is there a kiosk there? Does every other church have a kiosk at the police station too? Y'all see the Catholic Church with the kiosk at the LAPD, along with Scientology, the Mormons, the Jehovah Witnesses. What's another church? I'm just thinking of various other Baptist churches. I don't know. Does everybody get a kiosk in a police station? The LAPD isn't talking, but we imagine that Scientology assured the police department that the kiosk was not religious in nature, but instead promoted its social betterment. Front groups which Scientology claims are secular. A closer look at the kiosk shows that it was promoting three Scientology initiatives. It's the Way to Happiness Moral Code booklet, its Drug Free World initiatives, and its human rights campaign. So there was an attorney by the name of Jeffrey T. Blackwell who wrote a complaint letter to the LAPD that the kiosk was promoting the tenets of a particular religion, but the letter was enough to convince the police department to remove the kiosk. It's especially galling that the LAPD would demonstrate its chummy relationship to Scientology at exactly the time that it's been under some fire. How slowly the Masterson investigation has dragged on, and with reports that Masterson's accusers have been subjected to bizarre incidents of intimidation and harassment. I'm going to link this article for you guys to review it in the description box. Check it out. But the photo, this one here, is that kiosk. I guess this is the kiosk, the Scientology kiosk. And those practicing are, I guess, out of Scientology practices.
We found out that Captain Polka was having extensive communications with Scientology every day. Scientology uses the LAPD Hollywood division as their own personal secretaries, and back they have officers assigned to Scientology for all the hate crimes, Mike, that we've incited. I mean, it's insane. I couldn't get LAPD to show up when somebody broke into my gated community with their car 7 times. But Polka is right. Yep. And it goes way back, way before me, 2000. I mean, it goes way, way back. I had no idea, Mike. So for me, again, being naive, and I guess so was Claire, because we walked into this meeting with Captain Moore with high hopes. And so Claire, we walk into this meeting.
Yep.
About 10 men, right, in the room. We had
Yes.
no idea.
Yes.
10 men in a room. for a meeting. I would be very intimidating with 10 men. Like, that's crazy.
And,
be
and
smart.
as Leah, as you said, there's at least 10 people there, and there's more
Mm.
people outside. And he walks in and he says to Leah, "And who are you?
You are
You are. You are." I mean,
Shut
Mike.
up.
come
Mike.
on.
Mike. Now listen. You know I'm not precious. I never assume anybody knows me. Like I don't. I don't
That's
ever
true.
like.
That's
I mean, that's good. That's very humbling of Leah that says, I don't assume everybody that knows me, but come on now. You have a celebrity that's been requesting a meeting, and your response is, who are you?
that's absolutely true, Leah. Absolutely. I've been
Like-
with you so many times.
But
Yes.
even from my perspective,
Yeah.
and I have my own business. I've met with many top executives from many different companies.
Yeah.
Even if you're not quite sure who you're meeting with,
You don't do that.
common decency is, oh, and you must be Ms. Leah Remini. Obviously, he knows who's on his calendar. It was just the tone of it was.
That is a
wow.
line from a movie script.
We thought we were going to sit down and explain. What we wanted to say was we need you to understand what this organization is doing and what having your officers be hired by Scientology for off-duty jobs, having them at barbecues, going to their events, having, my detective who was supposedly one of the detectives in the Shelly Miscavige, he was at a Scientology event speaking on human trafficking of all things. So we were trying to explain what message you're sending to Scientology victims who want to come forward is that it sends a message. It certainly sent a message to me as a civilian Scientologist of
You can't. The message is that we are in bed with Scientology. You cannot make an allegation against anybody in Scientology. That's what the message is. Like I said, if they have a kiosk for the Scientology, are they going to have a kiosk for the Catholic Church? Like, if people are coming forward and making these allegations, this is all very much skewing to the investigation and to the tone that they're setting forth in the community. Mike Render said it perfectly. You got these barbecues and they're chummy and how you doing, and they must be the good guys because they got the best equipment. The question is, why do they have better equipment than the LAPD? Why does a church, this machine, have more money than the institutions that we're paying, where the taxes are going to? That is very concerning to me. Why are they tax exempt if they allowed so much abuse to happen? Just saying. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
if they're bad, then why would the LAPD or any police officer, anybody in law enforcement be here? And so it made me think, well, maybe they're not bad. Maybe what they're doing, by what they're doing, even though I know it to be against the law, is being overlooked by law enforcement. I guess they're okay. Like we were trying to explain the message it's sending to victims of Scientology, and that we had hoped that they would listen to us and our stories. So we were going to tell them some stories that were told to us, stories that we're involved in, what Claire was taught as a Sea Org member, what she experienced, all the abuses, Mike, that you experienced by the hands of David Miscavige and Sea Org members, the physical abuse, the mental abuse, sexual abuse. We were going to go through the gamut and just say that, like, we could bring you people, we could, whatever you need, like, to
Yes.
substantiate what we're saying, but it's been
Right.
well documented, right?
Yeah. And we were there as whistleblowers and
Yes.
advocates of our own accord, coming to try and help them to enlighten them as to what really goes on.
So we
Right.
got out maybe 2 sentences. I said, we introduced ourselves and why we were there. And Claire, you could stop me at any time. He cut us off. He said he only had 45 minutes and then went into a political speech about what the LAPD is there for and how amazing he is and the amazing work that he's done.
And how they support all groups
yes, they support.
equally.
And
Shut up. So all they gave you, they had 10 people at this meeting and more waiting out there, and all they gave everybody was 45 minutes?
at a certain point, because I knew the time was running out, I was like, he's giving this, like, bullshit political speech. And he wasn't warm. He wasn't inviting. He was quite rude. He was quite aggressive. And I was really put off by it. Again, Mike, being, in the public eye, I'm just kind of like not used to that kind of antagonism from a non-Scientology group, supposedly. Right. So I was a little bit put off. Like I was crying in the car to Claire. I was like, I felt so bad about I was like, I feel like I was like in a meeting with Scientologists. I felt so uncomfortable, and Claire flew in for that meeting, and it was like really important to us. And his attitude was so crazy to me. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And at one point I cut him off and I said, if you could just let Claire speak to you about, for example, Claire has experienced abuse, witnessed abuse at the hands of David Miscavige and the people that you were befriending, like Kirsten Catano Peterson and all, these people that you think are good, they're. And he said, listen, he cut me off and he said, listen, that's, you're saying that. And I said, well, no, we're not saying it, honey. We're the people that were, well, yeah, she's saying it because she witnessed abuse. But if you could, he said, no,
But they're not willing to listen. These are your police officers, right? And she's giving you a story. She's giving you these allegations, and you're not taking them seriously. And I even heard her. Is he writing this down? Are they concerned, or are they just like, that's what you're saying, that's what you say you do, or that's what they're saying? These claims are happening in your division, in your community, right?
I don't know, critics. And I said, well, interesting. You're using the words of Scientology. I said, because we're not critics. And I started to raise my voice. I said, we're not critics. We're actually advocates. She's actually a whistleblower. She's an advocate. She has and it was, and then somebody had to intervene. And then he said, and I don't appreciate, all of a sudden he became, who he was showing us he was. He said, and I don't appreciate you going public and tweeting what you tweeted about the investigation into Shelly Miscavige. And I said, and I don't appreciate you releasing a statement and not actually performing a welfare check on somebody who's been missing. So you drew first blood. I didn't. And then the lawyer who was with us said, all right, like he literally had to intervene. I couldn't believe this. I couldn't believe this, Mike, that he was using the words of Scientology, that all of a sudden he knew exactly who I was because he had a problem with me sharing with the public what was happening at the very top and what was happening of, again, not finding Shelly Miscavige, not having any answers truly. Then what Yashar Ali had uncovered recently about Shelly Miscavige, what we uncovered in the Palka emails that we had no idea about. Like it was like what you were supposed to be the good guy. It was clear. I mean, look how I'm getting riled up. It was so insane to me, Mike, and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
So I'm going to stop it right there. You guys watch the rest of it. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, this is coming from a non-Scientologist perspective. I don't know a whole lot other than what's been uncovered by people. And shout out to all those whistleblowers. And shout out to the people that have been reporting. And it's unfortunate that the LAPD doesn't take these claims very serious or don't have any type of report out of these claims. You guys are you guys are going by what this institution is saying, and not really being equal here. You need to be reviewed. It needs to be there needs to be more review on this. This is crazy to me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out.